Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 3rd. We're going to jump right in here. You have this Divine Infinity card. It says, challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations and you'll find your infinity. You have the Success and Triumph card. It says, nothing will be able to get in your way. You'll surely come out on top. Damn, Taurus. I like that. I feel like you always get these cards that kind of say basically what the Divine Infinity card says, like challenge yourself to go beyond your limits, push it to the limit, do whatever you can. And, I feel it is a good time, or would be a good time for Taurus to like really push it, especially this month, with Uranus retrograding back into your sign. You're getting that final visit from Uranus, and at least in this lifetime. And, it could be a really good time for you to kind of set yourself free or to do something that makes you more free. And I feel all those things would be good for you as well. You have the Tower and the Judgment card. You are the sign that gets this the most. For sure. I don't think any other sign gets those two cards the most. And I do like them together showing up in the same row. So I wouldn't worry too much about the Tower, but we'll talk about it. You have the Temperance card, Three of Cups, and the Nine of Pentacles. Temperance is patience. But I kind of feel like this is saying to not be patient, basically, is what I would say here. And, I feel like the universe... Sorry, I must have bumped this camera, and I have to get it in the right position. But, again, I think that for some of you, it's like saying don't be patient. The thing about the Temperance card is there's this glowing crown in the background. And I always say, the Temperance angel here could easily just get off on this path and go claim his crown. There's nothing more for him to wait for or to wait to do. The funny thing is that you have the tower on the you have the crown on the top of the tower right here, and we have the Judgment card. So I feel this is pretty good in your reading. I always say, to me, Tower and Judgment is the most powerful combination in the tarot, and it can represent like a big light bulb moment, a major revelation that you're having in your life. And so if you don't have answers yet on like how to get your crown in life here, Taurus, it looks to me like you are getting the answers. You have that card that says Success and Triumph, like you are going to be successful, and you could finally be understanding like what steps to take or what path you need to go down in the first place. And I feel that is really good. You have the Three of Cups. Yeah, definitely a good time for you here, Taurus, especially those like really close connections. I always say that the Three of Cups is concentrated connections. It's those people who really matter. It's those people who come from love, not fear, of course, right? And so I feel focusing on those connections in your life is going to be good for you at this time. These three ladies are celebrating this harvest that's going on around them. So, it's about kind of surrounding yourself with people who really lift you up, or, people that you can celebrate your victories with. And I would, of course, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with those types of people. If you don't have those people in your life, this would be about, kind of finding your tribe, basically, or finding the people who do, support you and support your vision. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is gratitude, luxuries, independence, pre-Empress energy, really good card. It's my card of like creating heaven on earth. And, that doesn't mean that you are going to do that, but it wants you to do that. So, and it also, I think Uranus and Taurus also is going to want you to create your own version of heaven on earth. And, you have to make it your focus. And you also have to like nurture it, right? She's pre-Empress energy, and the Empress is your card. And the Empress is also very nurturing and kind and caring type of energy. So the more you care about what you're doing in life, or the more you care about the things that are working in your life, the better things will go. And that's what I would do with the Nine of Pentacles, is like focus on what's working, and I would do more of what's working, but also really good for money. By the way, this week has been really good for money. And so for like everyone so far. And you have the Nine of Pentacles, and you end with the Eight of Pentacles. So if you've been working hard, there definitely could be some financial improvements. With the Temperance card, you have the Ten of Cups, which is like fortune after difficulty, happy home, happy family if it wants to focus, whatever. But, I feel the Ten of Cups is good. The Ten of Cups is also kind of like heaven on earth. They have these 10 cups that exist above their heads, and they need to bring those cups down to earth. I always say that they're kind of like living a dream. They should be living the dream, which those are two different things. here, Taurus. So they are kind of like in the dream. They're just dreaming and fantasizing. Definitely the problem with having Neptune and Pisces is that we can get stuck in the fantasy. We never make it a reality. And so I feel this says this, it's like this reading is saying you need to live the dream, but it's going to require a little bit of work. With the Three of Cups, you have the Six of Wands, another card of a victory. So definitely, you have that card that says nothing will be able to get in your way. You'll surely come out on top. So a little bit of unstoppable energy for you here, Taurus. And you could be becoming more unstoppable or, finding new levels of success with these cards. The Six of Wands with the Three of Cups would be about standing out in a group of people as well. So, if you're doing anything to get attention or if you're wanting to get attention, we have all this crown stuff here, and we even have the Emperor. The Emperor would be about you bossing up, which I'm pretty sure I said to you recently that you could be bossing up. There could be a lot of positive attention and work. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, definitely. The Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold. The Nine of Pentacles is an environment. It's funny, I just said this to someone else that, I look at the Nine of Pentacles and Nine of Cups as very similar, right? But there's a big difference. They both can represent kind of manifesting something. Nine of Pentacles like heaven on earth. Nine of Cups can just be like a wish or something you're hoping for. But the Nine of Cups is about being in the energy of something. It's about like matching energy to get what you want. The Nine of Pentacles is very similar. We have to match energy with the Nine of Pentacles, but it's more about the energy around you, your environment and putting yourself in a positive environment. It's also about the things that you feed your head, right? It's like with the Nine of Pentacles, we probably shouldn't listen to negativity or we shouldn't listen to things that make us feel bad. And so we really have to create that environment, and that's what I would do with these two cards. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, here you go. You have this manifestations card. It says, manifest your desires, creation, power, resourcefulness, creativity, action, focus, potential, and talent. You have this karmic cycles. It says repeated patterns, situations, lessons, not for you, toxic red flags, karmic connections, and triggers. Yeah, we have the Five of Wands here as well. I don't really feel much about this, Taurus, other than, if there are people who aren't right or people who are keeping you stuck, I would be careful of that. I think you need to really look at results that people are getting as well. It's like, especially if you're working with people, if you're teaming up with people or if you're using people as an example, I would make sure that they actually are getting the results that you desire. I just feel that again, this is not a bad thing. I just think this is something to pay attention to. I feel like there could be a little bit of a mismatch in what you want and what other people have. And, if you're using those people as an example, it might not be a good example. So definitely something that's popping into my head there. You have the Nine of Wands, the Page of Wands, and the Knight of Pentacles. Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior, but Nine of Wands says don't give up. I feel like you need to not give up on some sort of success or a crown that you're hoping to claim here, Taurus, with that, the Tower, the Temperance card, the Emperor, pretty much your whole entire top row. The Nine of Wands is a card of experimentation. I always say it's like a card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So we have to experiment with the Nine of Wands. We have to, try new things, and we have to kind of figure things out as we go along. And I feel a lot of you could be doing that with the Nine of Wands. Also, with the Nine of Wands, we go Nine of Wands, Five of Wands, Eight of Pentacles. This could definitely be about having boundaries in work. So, like I said, I think that putting boundaries up or having boundaries in work would be a really good idea, especially if they don't have the results that you want. You have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the card of optimism and enthusiasm. He kind of just goes on an adventure and he just follows his enthusiasm. If something feels exciting or good to him, then he does it, or he moves in that direction. If something doesn't feel good, then he doesn't do it. And so I think it's going to be really important for you to pay attention to your feelings, especially with that Nine of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. It's going to be important that you put yourself in good situations. But I do feel freedom here with the Page of Wands. He at least has the freedom to embrace his creativity, his creative desires, to carve his own path in life. And I feel a lot of you have that this week. You have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles can be kind of progress. And normally I don't really like the Knight of Pentacles, but I will say in your reading I do. The reason I don't like him sometimes is because he's the only knight in the tarot that isn't moving. And so he's the only knight in the tarot that isn't doing anything about his situation, but he can represent progress. So I do feel a lot of you could be making a lot more progress at this time. I also feel like, again, the Tower and the Judgment card is telling me that you're like getting some sort of answer or information this week that kind of like moves you forward. And so definitely with that Temperance card, like if you haven't been sure what path to take or whatever, it's like this could be you finally making progress on a path, which is good. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Hermit. The Hermit can be about being in hermit mode. Again, we see a lot of stuff about people here in your reading. And the Hermit can be kind of, with the Nine of Wands especially, can be kind of like trying to protect yourself or trying to protect your vibe. This is not a bad thing at all, of course, here, Taurus. Like if you're trying to protect your vibe, obviously that would be a good thing. I would just be careful of like trying to protect it too much. It's like I believe that we can sometimes overcorrect. And, I feel this is saying as long, really it's very simple. If you're paying attention to results that people are getting and you are surrounding yourself with people who get good results, then things will be fine. And so that's what I would do here. I would encourage like some of you to socialize as well. Ten of Cups, the Three of Cups, these are cards of your community. Hermit is, wanting to hide, wanting to stay in hermit mode. And so I would get out of hermit mode as well. With the Page of Wands, you have the Hangman. Yes, again, I think you're definitely getting an answer this week because, his head is glowing on the Hangman. And his head glowing kind of represents enlightenment, but he has put himself in Hangman mode. So he has put himself on pause on the Hangman, and now he's finally getting answers, or he's finally gained enlightenment. So, like I said, I think that some of you are clearly getting some answers this week, or you're finally, moving forward or seeing the answers you need to see. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles, you, showing up here. I literally just feel like this is saying that you are finally moving forward. And, I sometimes like when when your sign clarifies a card, it just tells me that, the sign that I'm reading for is doing whatever that card is. So I feel you're finally making progress. Again, really good card for, the whole entire reading, I should say, or you have good cards for money. And it seems to be a good week for money. The thing about the King of Pentacles is that sometimes he can play it a little bit too safe. And so I would say, like, I'm not saying that you have to take ridiculous risk in business or do anything crazy, but, I definitely would, put yourself out there and work your business because, clearly it looks to me like there could be some really big benefits or improvements in your wealth. He's a card of wealth building, which again, from now until like the beginning of the year, this is going to be a focus for you, Taurus, because of freedom, wanting to set yourself free. And obviously if you have money, then, people might not like it, but, it does bring a certain level of freedom in some ways. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Chiron card. It says heal on it. You have the 7th house card. It says relationship on it. So literally, some of you are probably healing certain relationships in your life. I also get like some sort of reconnection, which is interesting. I'm not talking about a past person coming back. That's not what I mean by reconnection here. But I feel like if you are in a relationship, some of you could be doing things to like reconnect with your partner. Not that, I'm not saying anything bad's happening or anything, but I don't know, sometimes I think it's a good thing to like reconnect and make sure the connection's still there and stuff. And so some of you could be doing that. For others, I feel like you could just be healing relationships in general. Again, I feel like there's some sort of mismatch or something. That's the best way I can describe the energy, but like I feel like there's some sort of difference between like who you want to be and like who the people in your life are. Two different things. And I'm not even saying all people. This could just be a certain group of people or the people you work with or a certain part of your friend group, right? And I feel like there is a need to heal that or fix it or leave it even with this card. You have the Tower, the 5 of Wands, and the Judgment card. Again, the Tower can represent a Tower moment, but with the Judgment card, it kind of becomes the most powerful combination in the tarot. To me, these two cards together can represent like a major wake-up call or a major revelation or a sudden understanding or a major realization that you're having in your life. So I feel a lot of you could be having like a realization or, it's like you're getting answers on your path. Now, the Tower usually we enter into a completely new reality. The whole point of the Tower is that these people have been ignoring reality for too long, and now they're coming down to reality, and they're kind of like seeing reality for how it actually is. So the Tower can be like a little bit of a shock to the system. I don't think this is a bad thing at all, but so it's like a good shock to the system. It's like maybe you're realizing like, oh my God, these people I work with, they're not where I want to be in life, so I need to make a change. And it could be just like something like that. Like I said, I don't really feel it's that big of a deal. You have the Five of Wands. Again, I just feel like it's pretty simple. I feel there's a difference between where you want to be and where the people in your life are at. And, Five of Wands can be conflict or competition, but, I always say one of the best, fives have very easy solutions, and the best thing to do with the Five of Wands is to learn from the competition and see what they're doing and what they're not doing, and then kind of make some decisions from there. And so I think a lot of you could be doing that with the Five of Wands, just kind of like studying the competition or seeing what they're doing, what they're not doing, and, making better decisions. The Five of Wands can be a little bit of a challenge. Now, sometimes, I don't know, I actually never say this, but for you, like, I feel this reading is encouraging you to challenge yourself. You have that Divine Infinity card. It says, challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations and you'll find your infinity. You're like the second sign this week, or third maybe, that has had a message of like just going one step further. So if you're working on a business or your career or whatever you're working on, I feel like just like one little extra step would make all the difference in the world. You have the Judgment card. Again, can represent a major wake-up call, light bulb moment, with the Tower. Judgment, these people are rising up from their coffins. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. So they are being called to step into their new life. And I do feel the universe is kind of like calling Taurus to step into the Ten of Cups, basically. The Ten of Cups is kind of like your dream life. But, I think the Judgment and Tower is saying like, yeah, you have the dream, but now you need to like make it real, or now you need to step into it and bring it down here on Earth. With the Tower, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, this could be some sort of conflict in like a group of people. I definitely feel it. Is this a bad thing, Taurus? I would say no. I mean, it's like, yeah, sometimes this stuff can be uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's like setting you free from something that just isn't worth it in the first place. So again, I think that some of you, this, and the other thing about this is that this could be very simple. It could be as simple as you just realizing the difference between you and the people you work with, or, between you and a person in your life or whatever. With the Five of Wands, you have the Four of Cups. Yes, I definitely feel this for Taurus. I feel like Taurus has, like, maybe your one fear that you have right now is the fear that you have something you want, but you're fearing that you're never going to have it. And, I think I said this to you in your your November reading, maybe. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the end of the year readings that I just did as well, where I said it. But, the Four of Cups, he has these three cups in front of him and this fourth cup reaching out. He's been disappointed by something 3 times at least, and now he's getting a new offer, but he's afraid to accept it because he's afraid it's not going to be what he wants. So sometimes I feel with the Four Cups that basically that we are fearing that we're not going to have something that we want in life. And but I do feel this is saying, you should let go of that fear because you will eventually have what you want, if not soon. With the Judgment card, you have the King of Wands. Yeah, it's definitely time for you to unleash the beast here, Taurus. King of Wands is bold, assertive, confident. This could be a person for some of you, but I think this reading, as usual, Taurus, is all about you. I feel like it's saying that you have to kind of be bold, be assertive, confident. You have to really go for the things that you want and desire in life. And if you do that, things, I think, will go very, very well. But he's like very driven, calculated, and all that. And I feel that you could be embracing these energies as we move forward, not only this week, but throughout the rest of the year. And so I would embrace that. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Shapeshifter card. It says Mystique, Transformation, and Power. You have this Companion. It says Loyal, Devoted, Courageous, and Friend. So again, some of you could be really focusing on the people that you are really close to you, or close, those concentrated connections, like I said. I do feel like you are clearly changing. Tower is entering into a completely new reality. It is something, completely different, completely fresh. So definitely a transformation. You have the Emperor, the Six of Swords, and the Eight of Pentacles. The Emperor is about being bold, assertive, confident, just like the King of Wands. being willing to take advantage of opportunity as well. He's sitting on his throne, and he has his armor on underneath his cloak, but he's not doing anything about it. Like, he's not taking action at this moment. But the whole point of his armor being on is that when an opportunity presents itself, he's going to take action. He's ready to go at a moment's notice. And so I do feel this reading is kind of like saying, be ready for an opportunity at this time to, go beyond your limitations. Maybe that's what this reading is saying, that you have to be ready for the opportunity. I also think that this opportunity clearly could be taking you away from a group of people. And so, I would think about it. You have the Six of Swords. Six of Swords moving on to calmer shores, so I feel that there could be some improvements. Definitely very weird. A lot of people this week have had the Six of Swords, so it could be a Six of Swords week in general. And, I just kind of like feel that for you here, Taurus. The other thing is, I feel like people could be feeling some sort of release this week, or like a release of tension. Again, we're not in a perfect time. Let me make that clear. But I feel like the energy has been like a little bit crazy. And, I'll tell you a crazy story. Like, I never in my life get migraines, for example. It's like I can count on one hand the amount that I have had in my life. And last week I had 2 for some random ass reason, right? And so I don't know. I feel like there could be weird solar activity. It could be the spaceship 3i Atlas that is sending weird vibes to Earth or something. I don't know. But, I feel like there's something going on energetically, and maybe you're feeling that as well, Taurus. And, this could be like ascension symptoms is what I'm trying to spit out here, or something like that. But I feel like there's a release this week, or you could be feeling a release from, any ascension symptoms. You have the Eight of Pentacles, very good for money. Again, this week, I don't know. There is something about this week, like if there's something extra you can do, if there's something you can do to, start something that could make you money, if there's something you can do to, like, publish something, any of that, I would definitely do it, because pretty much everyone has had something about, like, money being really good this week. And but I don't think it's just going to be money that we just magically get, which, rarely ever happens. So, I think we have to, like, work for it, or we have to do something extra to stand out to get it. And I definitely would with the Eight of Pentacles. Here you go. With the Emperor, you have 2 cards. You have the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is also everything you want and desire in your life. Ten of Pentacles forms the tree of life, and it just represents everything you want and desire in your life. The Four of Pentacles is like financial stability, so there could be like more financial stability coming in for you right now, Taurus. With the Six of Swords, you have the you have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about taking the lead, and Emperor, King of Wands, definitely time for you to take the lead and get out into the world. I think it's time for you to enter into a new environment as well. That is definitely a theme that is coming up here in this reading. And so, pretty interesting is what I would say. Anything you can do to, like, upgrade your environment, anything you can do to, kind of, like, make changes in your environment, I think would be a good idea. One thing I will tell you is there's something about Uranus and Gemini, and again, Uranus is only going to be in Gemini for a couple more weeks, and before it's going to retrograde into Taurus, and then next year it moves back into Gemini. There's something about Uranus and Gemini that I think is making people kind of like need to create a better environment or something like that. I'll give you a great example as well. I didn't even think about this. But just the other day, I hired a person who's going to be helping to kind of like change my studio up a little bit. And I'm creating like 2 more places to record videos and things like that. So they're helping me create like 3 spaces basically that I can create videos in. Very Uranus and Gemini thing to do. But again, I'm not telling you this to talk about myself. I'm telling you this because, like, if there's anything you can do to, upgrade your environment or how you feel or how your home or your living space makes you feel, again, I think people don't realize how much that affects other things in our lives, right? And so it could be very helpful. With the Eight of Pentacles, sorry I dropped it, you have the Knight of Pentacles again. So progress in your finances definitely could be creating a lot of improvements, or it's like you're doing something to create some financial growth. You have this dog barking. It says, advice from a friend. Again, would you trade places with your friend is my question to you. here, Taurus. I think for the most part, especially next year, when we have Saturn and Neptune moving back into Aries, I think we need to make sure, like, we need to look at the people we take advice from and say, would I trade places with this person? If the answer is yes, for the most part, obviously, you probably don't want everything from everyone. But, for the most part, it's like, are they getting the results you want? And if the answer is yes, then, might be a good person to listen to. You have the star card. It says guaranteed success. So it could be, obviously, you have the success and triumph card. If you push yourself, I feel like you will have that success. You have this bread card. It says period of prosperity and abundance. We talked about it the entire time. You have the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, the 4 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles. So clearly, could be a lot of abundance. But again, I think the abundance is going to come from taking that extra step, like we said. You have this vase. It says secret admirer. Sure. I think this reading is all about you. But yeah, sure, there could be love coming in for you. You have this torch. It says spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. 2 of Wands. I was talking about, or the 6 of Swords as well. It's like there's a release from energy. I don't even think you realize it yet. I feel like you'll feel it for sure. Like literally the week of the 3rd. I feel like you're going to feel the energetic difference. You're going to feel that things are different, but it feels good. It's like like I said, it's like a release of pressure or something, but I definitely feel it. But this looks pretty good, Taurus. I like this. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.